Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. My name is Taiwo Shaking. If it's your first time, welcome. Please grab your chair and your popcorn. And if it's not your first time, thank you for sticking and staying around. And I promise you, today's episode is definitely going to be worth it. A couple of questions I've gotten, not just me and some other wonderful women that I know, is about how to combine being a woman, being a wife, a mother, building a career, and other things that we venture into. How to combine all of this with our daily, in our daily routines, our daily adventures. And I just thought about it that wait, I actually know somebody that carries all of these roles beautifully. I call her Sister Buki. She is a tech recruiter, a senior tech recruiter in one of the top leading logistics company in Germany. She's also, as a matter of fact, she's a manager. She's a manager of a team. She's also a wife and a mom to two biological children, and I believe she has so many spiritual children as well. She's also pastor at the Stone Church Berlin here in Germany. I thought about Sister Buki because she is one person that I see that seems to carry all of these responsibilities so well. Honestly, guys, when I say so well, she does it elegantly. People that know her will attest to this. And I just thought, who else to bring than Sister Buki? So, guys, make welcome. Drum rolls, Bukola. Thank you so much, ma'am. I've just introduced from my own perspective, so let's hear Sister Buki's perspective.
Yeah, I think you already said everything, but maybe I'll say the way I see it. So, of course, my name is Bukola Olowu, and from Nigeria, definitely. My face, my accent, everything shows that. And yeah, I'm a lover of Jesus. I'm a wife of one husband. Yes. I'm a mom of two. I have Alexander Mululuwa, who is a boy. He's 12 now. I have Carrie. She's a girl, Caris, and then she's 9. And apart from that, I'm also a minister of the gospel of Christ. I love everything that has to do with Jesus, and I love to say it, so I minister the gospel. I'm also a friend to many. I'm a sister to many as well. And yes, like Taiwo said as well, I'm a recruiter. That's something I love. Anything that has to do with people, is a kind of job that I want to do. And I'm so glad that I found something in that line. Yeah, so good to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. Guys, I just think I should mention that some of you watch videos without subscribing. It's not good. Subscribe.
Please. I beg you.
You see, she's making you too. Thank you so much, Ma. I think the first question that I think would resonate with a lot of people. If you could just say in 3 words or 3 sentences, what would you say is your balance, your secret to balancing all of these responsibilities?
In 3 sentences. So now, number 1, it would be God, of course. Number 2, it's just knowing my priorities and setting them well. And then number 3 would also be, for me, just knowing my limits, to know your priorities, to also know your limits, those 2 things. But yeah, the ultimate of them is God being the very first one that helps me to be able to balance all of this together.
So like, I'm just imagining that you go to God and like, God, this is quite a number of things. You have to help your daughter.
Yes, the thing is this. And the reason I said God, I've proved it as well. I've had a season where I feel like, oh yeah, there's no time to pray. There's no time to do all of this. I have other things. Then quickly do it. Then I'll come back and, come to God. But I see that actually the strength to do life, the strength and the grace to do everything that I have to do, I get them from God. So it can't be the last, it has to be. So every day when I wake up, for example, I stay in his presence, get to love him, get to minister to him. Then I realize that that's where I get the wisdom, the strength to carry the day, the strength to do everything. And that the things I want to do, like you were saying, you go to God and ask him. I just tell him, oh, how best can I do this today? How best can I do this? And I see that that's actually the how do I say it? That's the backbone. That's like the reason I'm able to do other things. So yeah,
Wow.
it's good.
Thank you, Ma. When I first had Michelle, my daughter, the first couple of months was really hard for me to spend time praying. And I feel like other women also find themselves in this kind of situation. What would be the advice? Because it's not like we don't want to pray, right?
Mhm.
It's just trying to adjust to a new life of being a mother and so many responsibilities. How did you cope, in the early days of your children, or what would be your advice in this kind of situation?
To be honest, I also did the same thing. So I'm not gonna, try to prove one superwoman or something like that. When I had my first child, for example, before then, I have a routine. And that's the way I build my life. Actually, there's always a routine that I follow, and then this guy came, and I had to change everything and all of that. It was a bit difficult. In the first few weeks, months, actually, I couldn't really pray and fellowship with God properly because the time I used to pray, this guy is crying, and he's not just crying, you carry him and he stops. No, I have to attend to him, and I also want to attend to God, at the same time. So I began to ask him for wisdom. What I began to do at that point is that when I back him, because when he's sleeping, I can't say when he's sleeping, you go and pray quickly. When I back him and I'm doing other things, instead of going to wash the plates or wash the to wash his clothes or clean the house, I take that time to also pray. I just take the time to stay in God's presence. Other things, don't come and visit me if my house is too dirty. but the truth is that I began to see that why am I prioritizing all that? I still clean the house, I still do all of those things, I still cook. Why can't I just first, know, fellowship with God and then do those other things as on the side? So I had to readjust. Is the major thing that I did. And basically for all of us, if we really calm down and think about it and set that priority and know, is it God that is most important, or cleaning or attending to this baby? You will find that time, you will find the balance, you'll be able to put him first, and you get the strength, like I said earlier, to do other things from his presence.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ma. I think also from what I also have experienced in my little time of being a mother, right, is also maybe I used to think that I would need the long hours of prayer, like before I had a child, until I got to the point where I realized that those small minutes, those small time I also spent matters.
Exactly. You can break it down. So before then, maybe I used to do like 2 hours a stretch, and just stay in God's presence. I had to break it down. Maybe at the end of the day, it doesn't even amount to 2 hours. But the major thing is, what can I be consistent with now? I just choose what I can stand, and I know that will be consistent.
The next question is, I want to believe that these things, combining all of this comes with its own challenges. How have you had to deal with these challenges? Combining being a mother, a wife, a minister, other things that I believe you also, have to do on the side. How have you, and building a career as well? How have you combined? How have you been able to manage the challenges that comes with it?
Yeah. Thinking about it now, really, the first challenge that I noticed was my time, to be able to manage my time well. Like I told you, I always have a routine. And now that I have some more things to do, I have to be able to allocate my time to fit everything that I needed to do into it. So I began to ask God, what am I doing that I'm not supposed to do? What are the things I'm supposed to be saying yes to or say no to? How can I better organize my time? So time management is something that everybody needs. And I began to also ask people as well that have been in that situation that, oh, how do you face this challenge of not having time to pray, not having time to study for your own self, not having time for your career, the things that you would like to do. I began to just allow God to help me manage that time properly. And then at some point I began, when the kids began to just grow, I began to let them understand as well that mommy would also have to do this while you do this. Just letting people around you understand the state that you are at that time, so that they can also reason and adjust with you. Was something that also helped me. Yeah, I think another thing that I did with those challenges that came was finding people to support me. There's no need to prove to be a superwoman. We're already supernatural in Christ. So what are we proving? Who are we proving to? I think there's strength in actually asking for help, right? And I really leveraged on that. And I really thank God for the gift of people in church, people around me that can just say, oh, I need to study for an exam that I want to write. Can you please help me take care of my kids for this Saturday? For example, just trying to leverage on people around and also being there for them when they need support as well. So to face those challenges of being able to carry all of these things together, I would ask God for help and wisdom for time management. And then I would also ask people to support me. And I think it's been actually good. If you have people like that in your life, hold them well, people that can really support you. Yeah, so that's another part.
Thank you, Ma. I think that's really profound. For some people, they like to say they are not people person. Maybe
Hmm.
because you're a people person, that's why it's easy for you to ask for help from people. Do you think that played a role?
I think it's good actually. But see, when people say, "Oh, I'm not a people person," I'm like, then what person are you? Because in our lives, we always need people. And I'm not saying that everybody should be like, "Oh, I'm over friendly. Everyone is my friend. I'm there. I'm there." I mean, you don't even have to, but you need certain people in your life. You don't need everybody. You don't need to be everybody's person, but you need certain people in your life, honestly. And like I said, it's strength and it's actually humility as well to be able to ask for help. There was a lady I met when I just had my daughter, and my son was also still small. He was two. I gave birth to my daughter when my son was two or something. And we just moved to one area, and we needed it like a kindergarten. So I saw this lady on our street. She's black, and I just walked up to her.
Wow.
See, I'm looking for Kita. We just moved here, and sometimes I also need to work. I need to do this, and I just need help. Do you know anybody? She showed me the kit. Actually, that was the kit that my two kids actually went to. She showed
Wow.
me a kit, and sometimes she would tell me, "Book, if you need help, please call me till today." And she's a lawyer, so she's not like she doesn't have things to do. She also had a child, so sometimes we'd meet together, and then we would all, talk and all of that. But I just was able to meet this person and just tell this person I need this help, and then they were there to help me. Yeah, so you don't have to be everybody's person, if that's maybe we should say it like that. But everybody need people in their lives. You need somebody. You need a friend. You need a sister. Anywhere you go, you need somebody. You need that support system. You must create it, and you must be that to others as well.
Yeah, and I think from also what you said, it's important to ask for help because eventually you can't do it on your own.
No,
You have to ask for help.
yeah, you
Thank
have
you
to.
so much.
Yeah.
Three more questions. So this is specifically on career, and it's a very direct question. Do you think that being a mother has impacted your growth in career? More or less, like, do you think you'd have gone further in your career if you were not a mom?
A very tricky question. And maybe my kids will watch this and say, okay. But really, to be honest, I would say a resounding no.
Wow.
I would say no. And I'll tell you why.
Mm.
So before I got married, I was working in Nigeria as an accountant. And then that parents usually would decide in the family, you need a doctor, you need a lawyer, you need an accountant. And the fourth or the fifth born can now be something, whatever they want to be. But I was the accountant, that my parents really wanted me to be. If I didn't get married at the time I got married and moved to Germany to join my husband, maybe I would have still been managing, being an accountant. But when I moved to Germany was when I had the courage to be what I wanted to be. So I began to ask God, I can change now. What do you want me to be? Okay, I have this gift of meeting people and just, being there for people, trying to see how I can help. And that was how I switched to recruitment. And the reason I went back there is that that's one part of family, right? So I got married and then I was able to do exactly the kind of job that I want to do. And then I had the kids. So, and the reason I'm saying this is if I was an accountant in Germany, maybe my job would be more because there are numbers, figures, money, and all of that. Maybe to be too sensitive that I may need more time that I have right now. But because the kind of job I was doing was giving me pleasure, I was enjoying it. There was no pressure on me. I was able to also focus on my kids and be able to balance all of this well. And God so helped me that having babies, working at the same time, did not stop me from reaching my goals. So number one, I had the two kids while I was doing my master's. in Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, both of them during my master's program. So after that, I got a job, and God helped me such that my kids are healthy. And God also helped me with wisdom, with favor. That the years I lost while I was trying to look for job, I mean, that's another story. When I was trying to look for job in Nigeria, in Germany, God, after I had the kids, God gave me restoration such that every year there will just be promotion at work.
Wow.
There will just be
Wow.
promotion. Even though I have
Wow.
babies and we have people that we work together that had no kids, they're just living their lives. But God will restore. And it's just to let you know that His blessings, those children, they are to add you and they are not to remove from you. They add to you and they don't remove from you. So they are blessings. Really, to be honest, it's
So more or less like we can say that even though there are times where it looks like you're lagging behind, with God, you can definitely close this
you
gap.
can meet up and even overcome. You can close that gap with God. God will give you that favor. So yeah, that's another thing
Because
there.
I know that for a lot of women, it's almost like a trade-off. Do I want to have children? Do I want to focus on my career? If I have a child now, it's going to affect my job and all of that. So it's good to know that it's possible.
Yeah, and practically as well, because maybe there are some people that are still in that journey of, "Oh, I want to know God this more, and but I don't know Him. I can't trust that yet." Maybe something practical is also that the mindset I had then was the fact that as these kids are growing, I have to also be growing. Because I see that most women also feel like, oh yeah, what I'm doing now is I'm just tending to this baby. Your life stops because you have children. No, actually, their lives are totally independent of yours. So as they are growing, you also have to be growing. You understand what I mean? So we have to pattern it in such a way that, okay, now they're in the kindergarten. What can I do? When they started to go to kindergarten, I think the thing I was doing there was to do like a business, home business, something I could just. And when I was ready to go to work, I actually put those things on my CV. So I was busy doing few businesses and also busy working for God in the church. So I put all of those things on my CV, just making sure that I am not just sitting there, and actually they will be growing and they expect you to also be growing at the same time. Now the kids are in such a place where in their school they go to computer room and they are googling their children, their parents. So they actually sit down with their friends and everybody's like, show me your father on Google, show me your mom on Google, and then you see, okay, your mommy is not on Google. What does she do? She's cleaning. The kind of thing. I'm not saying, of course, I've cleaned also before. There's dignity in labor. But the major thing, the mindset for us is that as these children are growing, I have to be growing, because they will get to a point where they will ask you. You understand? What were you doing? And all of that. And one thing I've also noticed is that you set the standard for your children. So if they see you that, oh, you are here career wise, you're here with God, they want to go ahead of that. That kind of thing. So we have to have that mindset that as they're growing, I'm growing. If it's business I can do now, I have to do. If it's like I have to be learning something at home, I have to be able to do that. If I need to be working, I have to be able to do that. Just have that mindset that we both are independent and we have to be growing together, at the same time.
Thank you so much. I think that's like the highlight for me personally, like knowing that the child is growing, I too have to grow. It's probably comes with its own challenges, obviously, but
yes.
it's just a mindset to have. Thank you so much. Two more questions. How do you prioritize the tasks that comes with these responsibilities? So I know that you have to, for instance, you're trying to also upskill, you're trying to learn new skills that will make you stand out in your field.
Exactly.
You're also trying to be present at your children's parents and teachers meetings.
Exactly.
You're also a pastor. How do you prioritize which one to put ahead of the other part-time?
That's and I like the word part-time, because sometimes this thing actually they can change. So number one, that's been very good. There are three basic ones that are like very constant, that doesn't change in terms of priorities. The first one is that God part, because like I said earlier, this is how I can do what I need to do. This is where I get the strength, the wisdom, the help actually to do other things. So God, number one. So which means I have to wake up earlier than some people, and make sure that I spend my time, quality time with God, and get the strength for the day. Then the next one would then be the children, because if I see that they are fine, I'm there for them before they go to school, or when they come back, we have that time together. If they are fine, I'll be able to concentrate at work. I'm just making sure that they are fine. So that's the second priority. Anything I can do to make sure that I'm there for them, I have to do. And the third one is also, of course, part of the children is my husband, definitely. The whole family. And then the third one is also my ministry to people. That what would God have me to do? How can I help this person? God has me to do this. Do I need to preach on Sunday? What do I need to do? And all of that. So those three, they're always like there. And the other ones, I have to move them most of the time. So there are times that I would have to audit my priorities, drop some, or put some at the end of the ladder and put one up. So, just going back to understand what is important now. There are things that we do that they are just a routine. We're just used to them. But right now, do they fit? For example, I told you that I was to write an exam earlier this year. Yeah. So I took, and I normally I'm supposed to like go to a school. It's a German course exam, and I'm supposed to like enroll in a school, go for classes. But I looked at the cost and I looked at my pockets. I'm like, girl, what I would have done, it's not adding up here. And what I would have done is, okay, let me save and just wait, and maybe we'll do it later. But I'm like, well, YouTube is your friend. Go on YouTube. And I actually studied for 3 months. And before I started to study, I told my children, I need to do this because of this. And so when you see me 2 hours in the evening, 8 o'clock, everybody, please, there's no mommy. I am not a mommy from 8 p.m. I need to study till 10. So I will sit down and I will do everything. And I did it on YouTube. And my husband was saying, are you sure you're ready for this exam? Are you sure? Don't waste money. I'm like, I'm ready. And I went there. I did the exam. I passed, actually. I passed, actually. But the thing is that, when I finished the exam, I was used to the routine. I had to tell myself what's the next. So this one is not the priority now. We put it down, we bring another. Just make sure you have a list of things that you want to do. As you're achieving one, you're bringing another one. And even the things that you're always doing, reorganize, check them at some point. Is this still very necessary right now? So you can prioritize and reprioritize. Kind of. So that's basically. And I also look at people. I watch people. Sometimes I may not walk up to you and ask you, but I watch people a lot. I see people of strength, and I try to like study them from afar and learn maybe some things that they do. And I adopt them to my life as well.
I think that's been humble enough to know that I'm not doing this thing well. Is there somebody there around me, or somebody that I know that is doing it well? How can I learn from the person?
Exactly.
And the final question.
Yes.
What are some tips or advice that you would give to moms? Of course, all of the things you've said are advice already and tips, but that you can give to moms or women, that would help them to juggle responsibilities that comes with life.
Yeah, I'll go back to God again. Number one, especially if you're a Christian, don't ignore God for other things. Other things would definitely compete. They would also look like they are the major things that you should do right now, but always cleave to God. The Bible says that you cleave to Him because He's your life. Actually, to do life, it's in God. The grace and the strength, the wisdom that you need to do life is in God. So don't, because of anything, ever ignore God. Put Him at the first, and He would let all these other things, they will be added, like the Bible says. So please take your time to stay with God, cleave to God. That's number one tip. Number two is to also plan every time, understand the seasons of your life and plan it. So what do I want to do at this time? What should I be doing? What did I leave over that I could, now work on? Just make sure that every point in time, and that's something you'll say about me, there's another plan, So every time, make sure there are things that you want to achieve and be realistic. Doesn't mean that you should now write 50 things I want to achieve in 2024, and that there's no way. Be real. Just make sure that there's no point in your life where I'm just there. Of course, we need to rest, even if it's rest that you want. That's a task. That at this time I'm going to prioritize my rest. I want to relax. A few weeks ago, was it last week? I think it was last week that I took the time, 2 days outside of the house. I'm like, I'm going out. I'm just gonna, yes, and I booked an hotel and I sat there for 2 nights.
I think you need to repeat this because mothers, you also need to learn how to rest.
You need to rest. It's part of it. So when I'm saying that, make sure that there's something going on at every point in time. I'm not saying every time you are laboring, you are like, I'm reading. I mean, that's so also very important. But I'm saying that just make sure there's something, that is going on in your life at any point in time, and they are realistic. You find the grace and the help, anything you need to achieve them. So put them all together, but make sure there is something that is going on at every point in time. So that's like 2, right? And I think another thing is also, please be a support system to people. You will always need people. Everybody. There is no island. There is nobody that will say that I will just do it alone. Like I was saying, we're already supernatural in Christ. There's no point proving to us that you're a superwoman. We know. For you, especially if you have a kid, to push that baby out or to even carry that pregnancy, you are super already. However, you need help. Ask the Holy Spirit. Ask the angels to help you. Ask people to help you. So you can't say, I don't have friends. My sister, you need friends. Or you need people that will be there for you. So be that person and, let people be that as well for you. So I think, from all that we've said before, maybe there'll be 1 or 2 things that people can pick from there. But this has worked for me.
Thank you so much, Ma. So not just aim to get support from people, also be a support to people as well. I mean, you should also be someone that people can look around and say that, I can count on this person. Thank you so much, Tabuki.
Thank you so much, Tayo, for having me.
Really driving all the way, almost an hour drive. We really appreciate this. Myself and everyone watching, we really appreciate
Thank you for having me, everyone.
Yes. And so, guys, don't just watch alone. Subscribe, please. Interact and engage with us. Thank you, guys, and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bless.